Hello, Positive Vibers. Welcome back to the conversation. I'm Reverend Nicholas Robertson, lead minister at the Positive Vibration Global Ministries, and here we explore the biblical perspectives on various matters affecting you. Before we delve in, I humbly ask you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Reason with Robdon. On this channel, we offer daily morning devotions, weekly Bible studies, and prayers, along with insightful reactionary content for Christian education. Each segment is thoughtfully designed to help you deepen your faith and grow as a believer. If you're looking to grow your faith, this is the channel for you. I am so grateful that you have joined me for part two of my testimony about how God healed me. If you haven't watched part one, you are definitely going to want to go back and watch it first. It lays a foundation for what we are discussing today. I'll leave the link in the description below. All this and more after this. Touch your neighbor, say neighbor. It's time to get lined up with the word. Praise my hands, praise my body, praise. Now, let's dive into the next part of my journey. A chapter filled with pain, uncertainty, and moments where God's intervention became undeniable. When I arrived at the hospital, my condition was worsening quickly. My mother, desperate for help, pleaded with the doctor on duty, but the doctor was overwhelmed with other emergencies and dismissed our cries for urgent attention. For 30 minutes long, I sat there waiting. Then things took a sharp turn. I began to pass food, followed by blood through my mouth. I could feel myself slipping away. I remember every single stitch as they sewed up my head. It was painful, but I was alive. When my mother noted that blood was flowing through my mouth and that I was about to pass out, she rushed crying, Doctor, 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 I need help. When they saw what was happening, porters came rushing and they rushed me into the emergency room. I knew I slowly fainted during the procedure, but I awoken to the stitches that were being placed in my head as my head was so badly damaged. I remember every single stitch as they sewed up my head. It was painful, but thank God I was alive. After the procedure, the doctor broke the news that there was no space on the ward, so I had to go home. I went back that night in excruciating pain. Pain I wouldn't wish on anyone. The medication they gave me didn't help. If anything, it made my headaches worse. The pain was so intense that I found myself wishing I could just die to escape the suffering. But somehow I made it through the night. The next day, my mother took matters in her own hands. She decided to get me to a private practice for an x ray since the hospital machine was down the day before and they were not able to do an x ray to evaluate the damage. When we arrived, I was weak, unable to eat, and barely able to hold myself up. After waiting for what felt like an eternity, we were hit with another setback. The clinic was closing, and I would need to book an appointment for another day. My mom pleaded with the receptionist, but she explained that it was out of her hands. Just as we were about to leave in despair, God sent someone. An elderly man sitting nearby overheard the conversation and said something I'll never forget. Give this young man my spot. He has his whole life ahead of him. I'm old and will probably die in 10 years anyway. I was in shock. This man, a total stranger, gave up his opportunity for me. That, my friend, was God working through him to provide. I was able to get the scan done, and the results were alarming. The x ray specialist told us to return to the hospital immediately and show the results to a doctor. My mom didn't hesitate. She grabbed a taxi and we rushed back. This time there was a new doctor on duty. When he saw the scan, and heard my story, his reaction was one I can't repeat as a Christian. It was that shocking. He couldn't believe the previous doctor had sent me home. After checking my vitals, he decided to admit me right away. He even instructed the porter, don't let him walk to his bed. Get him there immediately. But then he gave my mother the most heartbreaking news. Your son may not make it home. He may die. Or if he survives, he could suffer severe brain damage and end up in Bellevue Hospital in Jamaica, a mental institution. At that moment, it felt like all hope was lost. But God wasn't done with my story. He was setting the stage for a miraculous turnaround that would defy every medical prediction. Friends, this is where I leave you today. But you won't want to miss part 3 of my testimony, where I'll share how God's miraculous healing power changed everything. And this testimony, I believe, teaches us some vital lessons. One, God's timing is perfect. Even in moments of frustration, delay, and despair, God is working behind the scenes. The elderly man who gave up his spot and the new doctor who intervened were evidence of divine timing. Ecclesiastes 3:11 opines, He has made everything beautiful in its time. 2. God sends help through unexpected sources. The elderly man's selfless act highlights how God uses people as vessels of His mercy and grace. Even when we feel forsaken, God will place the right person in our path to aid us. Hebrews 13:2. Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware. Thirdly, persistent faith moves mountains. The unwavering persistence of my mother exemplifies the importance of not giving up, even when faced with rejection. Faith requires actions, trust, and perseverance. Matthew 7:7 declares, Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. Fourthly, God's power transcends medical limitation. Despite grim reports and a lack of immediate care, God had the final say. Doctors and machines may fail, but God's healing power is unmatched. Exodus 15:26 shares, I am the Lord who heals you. Fifthly, faith grows in trials. My testimony demonstrates that trials test our faith, but also refine and strengthen it. Through pain and uncertainty, we learn to rely on God entirely. James chapter 1 verse 3, the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Sixthly, God's plans are greater than our understanding. The dire predictions of death and mental deterioration were overturned by God's greater plan. I am evidence of that today. What seemed like a hopeless situation became a testimony of His glory. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. And so, friends, this testimony is indeed a reminder that no situation is too far gone for God. When we trust Him through life's darkest valleys, He reveals His faithfulness and power in ways that surpass human understanding. It challenges us to keep believing, praying, seeking His intervention, even when it seems lost. Thank you for watching the conversation. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell, and share this video with someone who needs encouragement. God is still in the business of healing, and my story is proof of that. Join us tomorrow for our daily morning devotion, and don't miss our upcoming Bible study sessions and prayer meetings. Until next time, may God bless you and keep you strong in your faith. Stay connected, stay blessed, and stay rooted in Christ. See you in the next video.